Picture 17th century Boston, 1692. Cotton Mather stands at the pulpit, a Puritan minister stirring fear, claiming witches threaten the fragile colony. But beneath this hysteria lies something darker, a seed of ideas that will justify cruelty for centuries. How did such dangerous notions get planted so deeply in American soil, and why do they still grow wild today? That's where Ibram X. Kendi's story begins, exposing a twisted history that's anything but accidental. Kendi flips the usual story. Racism wasn't born from ignorance or hatred, but as a cold, calculated weapon. Let's unpack how thinkers justified brutality with ideas that shaped a nation. Cotton Mather, more famous for his role in America's first witch trials than racial thought, argued that witchcraft was a real and deadly threat. His sermons didn't just terrify, they rationalized exiling and executing women. This pattern of justifying extreme measures would morph into racial reasoning that enslaved and oppressed black people, setting a precedent for ideas serving power. Think of racist ideas like a Swiss Army knife. Crafted purposefully for specific uses, they sharpened to defend slavery, segregation, or Jim Crow laws. These weren't accidental beliefs, but deliberate inventions designed to protect economic interests, political power, or social order, wielded by thinkers like Thomas Jefferson who mixed Enlightenment claims with deep contradictions. Here's the kicker: racist ideas don't vanish, they evolve. After slavery's fall, they didn't disappear but morphed into scientific racism and cultural stereotypes, resurfacing in subtler policies and beliefs today. Kendi calls it a tracked history where each new form depends on the last, like a dark relay race sprinting through American history. Here's the twist: some of America's greatest minds mastered racist ideas. They dressed in Enlightenment rhetoric but handed out poison. Let's meet the thinkers who shaped the contradictions of liberty. Thomas Jefferson famously penned, "All men are created equal," while owning hundreds of enslaved people. Kendi reveals Jefferson's intellectual gymnastics. He created a hierarchy of races to justify slavery while cloaking it in science and reason. His contradictions laid groundwork for systemic racism, proving ideas from celebrated sources can carry deep rot. William Lloyd Garrison, unlike Jefferson, rejected racist ideas outright. His abolitionist papers called out slavery as a moral horror, not a social necessity. Yet even Garrison grappled with the entrenched racist logic in America, showing how deeply ingrained and difficult it was to uproot these ideas, even with justice on your side. W.B. Du Bois introduced double consciousness, the painful knowledge of looking at yourself through a racist society's eyes. This insight exposed the mental battles Black Americans faced, caught between identity and imposed beliefs. Du Bois' work challenges us to see how racist ideas shape not just laws but self-perception and culture itself. If racist ideas are manufactured, can they be dismantled? Kendi doesn't just chart darkness, he hands us a map toward light, blending history and activism for a smarter tomorrow. Angela Davis transformed thought into action, linking racial justice with feminism and prison abolition. Kendi spotlights her to show that fighting racist ideas means not only changing minds but dismantling systems. Davis embodies how fierce, informed activism turns theory into real-world dismantling of oppression. Racist ideas lurk in subtle narratives, from school textbooks to policies. Kendi's strategy is like detective work, identifying how entrenched biases hide in plain sight. Recognizing these hidden currents helps us challenge stereotypes and rewrite the stories we tell ourselves and each other every day. Finally, knowledge becomes a weapon against racism when paired with action. Kendi urges us to become anti-racist, actively questioning and changing ideas instead of passively accepting them. It's not about shame but empowerment. You can trace the history, expose the lies, and be the change. The future starts with how you think today. Remember Cotton Mather's chilling pulpit. Today you see that speech isn't just old history, it's a blueprint. Racist ideas were designed to grow roots deep and wide, but by studying their origins and evolution, you hold the power to uproot them. So try this: next time you hear an assumption about race, pause and ask yourself, where is this idea coming from? That question is your first step into anti-racist action. Subscribe for more book summaries like this one.